towards me, Will, Pokemon Go, Chip, Pokemon TCG, and Lou, Pokemon VGC. How are you doing this morning, Will?
I'm feeling great. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Welcome in. It's a Saturday here at EUIC. Day one was incredible. So many exciting battles, limited learning, Pokemon Go, and we're going to get into that plus much more.
Chip.
Yeah, it's a great day one yesterday. So much more Pokemon action still to come across all of our various titles. Very excited to see what our TCG players have to see.
And of course, beautiful Lou.
I've got big hair for big games today because Pokemon video game really kicked it off in style yesterday. It's my favorite tournament of the entire season, so I'm looking forward to what day 2 is going to bring.
Well, I know this doesn't apply to anybody watching right now because you definitely tuned in yesterday, but we're going to go through a little bit of a recap action and some players or teams to watch to get you caught up if, again, for some reason you missed or you have amnesia like Slowbro and forgot. Will, walk me through, let's see what the card says, because I feel like I already messed that up. So let's go ahead, and we're actually, we're going to reverse the direction. We started with Will, back to me, now we're going to go from Lou to Will, then back to me. It's a whole flow, it's on the card. Great. Lou, for Pokemon BGC, big hair, big games, day one was great. Talk to me about some of your players to watch.
I mean, there's so many, right? Like, it was hard to get 3 ironed out, but you can see them here on the screen. Let's start off with Shohei Kimura. Shohei was our 2023 Pokemon World Champion when we were over in Yokohama, and he is doing incredibly well this season. In 2025, he actually went on a little bit of a global tour and was able to get top 16 at LAIC and EUIC that season, so he knows what it takes to get these top places on the international stage. But his exam hasn't been his favorite format necessarily, but being able to see that recently in regionals, he's unprepared, he's experienced, and he's doing really well as a favorite coming into day 2.
Great global representation here in London for BGC and our players to watch. Let me check the cards again so I can follow this up 2 consecutive times in a row. Pokemon teams. A lot of great individuals, of course, competing today. We were talking before, you said there's more players in day 2 than there were in previous EUIC day 1s, which is just showing how much this game has grown. But you could only pick 3 players to talk about. Walk me through them.
Yeah, absolutely. Incredible players out there in the field. 743 players in day 2 for the trading card game, but 3 players to keep your eye on for sure. Without a doubt, Tord Reklev leading that charge. He enters day 2 with a 7-1-1 record. We saw him on stream yesterday with his Mega Kangaskhan, Mega Absol deck, archetype of his own creation. And when it comes to EUIC, there's no one more successful than him. Top cut 20 other times. Made cut at 5. EUIC make that 6 for 8 number. Osterman there from Denmark, another great rising player. So considered an excellent deck builder. And enters day 2 with an 8-0-1 record. Got to 9th place at this event last year. On that, and then Yoshiyuki Yamaguchi over from Japan. He's also come off the top 4 position at LAIC just a few short months ago, looking to improve on that record here. He enters day 2 at 7.
I have to say, I love seeing the representation here at the western side of the globe's tournament. Not necessarily something that happens too much tonight because of how the structure works, but I love to see it from the other games. Will, of course, Pokemon Go also has day 1, believe it or not. About day 1?
I was going to, you say that as a joke, but we have less people in our day 1 than TCG has in our day 2. But still, we're doing really well with our attendance. Over 500 traders competed. I had to narrow it down to just 3. Number 1 is Pato Man. He was last year's EUIC champion, runner-up in Worlds. Every time he's on stage, pure aura. The guy has it going on. But this time, he's in the loser side bracket going to day number 2, and he's had 4 wins in a row. But as you know, with double elimination, it's really tough to keep that streak going. And the trainer next to him might be standing in his way. That's going to be Nighttime Flasher, your LAIC champion, the first trainer in Pokemon Go to win international outside the region. You mentioned LNES. Very, very impressive. He was the last trainer to feature on screen yesterday, and he's one of Brazil's best. I cannot wait to see what he does in day 2.
As Pokemon Go has, of course, picked up steam across every event, as all the games have, you keep seeing the attendance numbers grow and grow and grow. Of course, the United Circuit is a little different in terms of how it approaches the game. For the Pokemon Go standpoint, and honestly, honestly applies to every game. You always see the same names rising to the top, and it almost makes it feel impossible for a young upstart to like break through. Will, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Are there any big-time players in Pokemon Go right now that are just having maybe their first or rookie or sophomore season that are having a good tournament?
No, we had a great tournament in Toronto just a few weeks ago in the U.S. where we actually had two what we call underdogs, trainers that had top cut here and there. Occasionally, they were both in the grand finals, and we had a brand new winner at that event. But I understand your sentiment. A lot of trainers will come in, they'll say, I always see Optiman, I always see Doonbug, I always see Colin, these top trainers competing. But there is a small skill gap that you can start to learn and improve and exploit, and I do think that the ceiling is not as high as you think. Pokemon Go is very accessible. You can download onto your phone for free, and I will say that today we have several trainers in EU that have top cut before, but are doing better than ever before, and they've been battling for years. So Amanda and I in particular are watching those trainers to see what they do. I think the sky is the limit.
Love to hear that. And of course, I was just sandbagging everybody because now I get to talk about Unite, which means just me and you, Cameron. Let's lock it in here. We've got 3 teams to watch because in Unite, you get together with your friends and you unite to play our game. Throw them up on the screen so we can talk about them. Of course, left to right, we've got Evil Geniuses and Root Dignitas, 2 orgs that have stepped into our league regional formats here. And those 2 teams specifically in NA are both undefeated in our regional league so far across our first 2 weeks. They have also come here, of course, to EUIT to compete. Both of those teams were number 1 out of their groups, and they're on opposite sides of the bracket. So there's a real possibility that our top 2 NA teams are also the ones that work their way to the finals here. Evil Geniuses flamed out at LAIC and want to prove that they belong here in the final stages of an IC, whereas right next to them, Root Dig won LAIC to qualify for the Asia Champions League. And of course, you cannot talk about EUIC without talking about an EU representative. And right now, Komai sits on top of the pile of these EU teams, having a great run yesterday. This is a team that kind of had a rocky start to their regional league setup, finding themselves not in the top position, but they beat the brakes off of some of the best teams around to put themselves as the winner of their group as well. So we have a lot of great Pokemon Unite action that I'm excited to bring you. We have 10 matches today. Our aim is to show you all of them, and we close out our day in our semifinals with 2 best-of-5s to wrap this thing out. And of course, we have 3 maps now. I could talk about Unite forever. Kyogre, Groudon, Rayquaza, and those best-of-5s. You're going to see all 3. There is still, I can't read that clock from here, but it's like 9 more minutes. Thank you, production. Bang, right in my ear. They knew where I was going.
I mean,
so
I got you if you need.
We're going to throw it back around. We're going to go around the horn so many times. Just one more time.
I mean, I spent so long talking about Shohei. I didn't even talk about the other two online industry. So let's do a bit slightly. He's won Pokemon Go 2019, and if you've been keeping an eye on his games lately, it's been won by an Italian every single time. Every single one. So I expect an Italian to possibly go all the way at the end of Championship Sunday, and Flavio, considering he's undefeated in the tournament so far, would be one of my hot favorites to take it. Brian Collins as well from the US. This is a trainer who's really well known for running Hard Trick Room, an archetype that isn't necessarily doing so well in Regulation F. A lot of people are like, balance is best, that's the one we're picking up. But he's like, Hard Trick Room's where it's at. He's doing incredibly well, currently 8-1. I want to see what he's going to be doing in day 2. My name's plenty more out there. So let's allow God to pick it. pick it up by using that very innovative code EUIC26 Heat Wave, with the I of UIC being a cheeky one. Don't miss that detail. And then you can pick it up and have that in game. It also comes with the Q partner ribbon, so you can always remember that this was indeed Yuma's Typhlosion. So you always have that memento of the event, whether you're there or not. Pick up a piece of Pokemon history.
I love that. I'm always impressed by the DC drops and getting a really meta Pokemon off rip. What's next? It's got to be TCG with their distro, which means distribution on strong.
Yeah, we got a lot of exciting things happening in the Pokemon trading card game live right now. If you want to get yourself some packs of the newest expansion, Mega Evolution Ascended Heroes, in the Pokemon trading card game live, you can redeem that code EUIC26 Ascended Heroes. Get yourself 4 booster packs. Lots of incredibly meta relevant cards in this lots of reprints from great cards over the last couple of years, and also something if you're tuning in over on twitch.tv/PokemonTCG, get yourself a chance to cosmetics, Necrops, Blank, and that awesome bomber jacket. I gotta go backstage and open up my laptop to make sure that rewards, and also an opportunity to get yourself a few of those.
I have to say that might be one of the most unwieldy buttons you have to enter of all time to get those 4 booster packs. Enter that correctly, and don't forget, in lose drops, you got to put a 1 somewhere in there for some reason, because nothing really goes that easy. Here we go. We've got 4. Is yours just drop? No distros for you. Will, talk to me about Pokemon Go!
No intros, but all of the rewards nonetheless. I want to read this in. I gotta be very careful how I say this. This is a dugong inspired by our nighttime blaster. It's not his exact dugong, but it is inspired by him. That Pokemon does need some legacy fast charge text to be optimal. And that elite charge TM down there will help you get there. Plus, you get 20 fast and charge TMs to work on your other Pokemon and upgrade your roster. So, I'm excited to start.
Very good. They just told me we have a full 10 seconds to talk about the Unite drops. Put them on the screen. Just transition. Not to me. Put them on the screen. Put our drops on the screen so we can talk about them. Pokemon Unite is bringing you a Charizard emblem and a sticker. Of course, you know that's just as good as all the other stuff that you're getting for watching the other games. It is awesome, and everybody knows it. So we have 11 seconds left. We had 11 seconds, 14 seconds ago. We now have 53 seconds. Time is certainly a big validation at this point in time. I'm being led astray by production. For those institutions Unite, I know that's apology number 10 that we are owed based on production-related errors. That's a joke. They don't make mistakes. POE2, Spraggles, who led this show yesterday. Final thoughts. You've got like 4 words. 30 seconds. I agree completely. We all do it, guys. I'm going to say you're champion with the US this year. 15 seconds. Tell me when it's 10.
Why don't you just count it down?
EUIC Day 2 is underway, and what I hope is 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's get after it. Boom.
You cannot stop us. We will take the power that we desire. You are nothing but a tyrant. I shall relish the challenge. That
Pokemon European International Championships. We're back in London, where thousands of the world's best trainers have come to battle for the title of EU IC champion. Two-time world champions Luminosity Gaming continued their epic season-long IC sweep with a decisive victory in London.
To the middle, and Luminosity Gaming is going to stop them, and they're going to win the AL's Cup.
Hatterman is the reigning European International champion, and his dominance continued through the 2025 season, finishing third at the North American International Championships and claiming second place at the 2025 World Championships. Look at the goal! Give it up for Hatterman! Ryuki Okada demonstrated absolute mastery of the game. His precise decision-making and unwavering composure laid the foundation for an inevitable victory, crowning him last year's international champion.
And now we've come to London and won the whole thing.
Longtime VGC legend Wolf Blick barreled through the competition and added an EU IC win to his historic career.
International Championship and becomes your 2025 European International Champion.
Welcome to the 2026 Pokemon European International Championships. Let the games begin.
Good morning, trainers, and welcome back to day 2 of the 2026 European International Championships.
I do hope you're all nice and rested after yesterday's intense day of action, because we are not going to be stopping today until we've decided our finalists in every game.
But the question is, who's going to make it to Championship Sunday?
Well, in Pokemon Unite, Root Dignitas and Evil Geniuses are both undefeated in the season coming into this tournament, but Kamai Esports looks to be leading the way for the European region.
In Pokemon Go, defending EUIC champion Patterman will be looking to hold on to his title, but our new LAIC champion at Nighttime Clasher is in a great position to add another trophy to his collection.
Over in the trading card game, we had 3 players finish phase 1 with a perfect 8-0 record, including 2 Japanese players with decks outside the established top 4, Kaido Mitsu with Raging Bolt EX, and Daiji Tamai with Mega Absol Bot.
And finally, in the Pokemon video game, Flavio Del Pidio and Paul Chua are both previous EUIC winners with a shot at another title this weekend, whilst Wolf Glick, reigning EUIC champion, is not out of it yet.
But there's only one way to find out, and that is locking in for an entire day of exciting action. And joining us as we find out who's going home with the points,
Who's going home with the prizes?
and who's locking in those direct invites to the Pokemon World Championships and Pokemon XP in San Francisco.
So good luck, trainers! You still got everything to play for. Let's get day 2 underway.
Welcome in, Pokemon fans, to the trading card game competition here at EUIC in London at the Excel Center. Chip Ritchie here with Kyle Kukasukovic. Very excited to take you through the first Swiss round of the day, 10th one of the event. Kyle, we're only 5 rounds away from getting into top cut.
Yeah, it's exciting. We've already had so much competition, but now we're getting into the nitty-gritty of things. You got to rack up those last match points, try to make a push for that top cut, because everybody wants to be competing to be the champion here in London, but still long ways to go.
We talk so much about, how fun the game is and the enjoyments of the moment, but it does feel like there's a bit of a pivot when it goes from day 1 to day 2. Things get a little more serious. It becomes a lot more real for our competitors.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think we see this sometimes where people have a hot start on the first day, and then the second day they might stumble a bit. Sometimes you get in a groove, things are going well, but when you have to take that break and, sleep for the night, come back the next day, your nerves can be a little bit different. So it's really about keeping your composure, staying on track. And the second day comes.
You could come into this day 9-0, the best possible record, and still potentially miss out on top cut. There is still so much on the line and still so much to play for. No round is a freebie in day 2 of these international championships. Pre-show, I got a chance to talk about quite a few of them. And here's what these players are competing for, of course, over the course of this weekend. Championship points galore, aiming to become one of the top trainers in their various age divisions and their various regions to get that. And also worth remembering, the trainer who finishes in the top 4 regardless of their final standing at the end of the season.
Yeah, and regardless of where you're from as well, championship points in these events they play. Certain players finish in the top 4 of this event, they will get it to the World Championship. So even if this is your first event of the season, do well enough, you can go straight to
Not just championship points that these players are competing for. There's a lot of credit on the table. Kyle, you were playing the game when you were of junior and senior age. Could you have imagined winning $7,000 for your efforts at an event?
I do not think I can count that high. I was in 2009. I got 5,000. You can see just how the change in the years. 25,000 US dollars for the Masters 50 here. But even going all the way down to the top 64, fourth place Oklahoma, 2,000 US dollars as well. So
Yeah, over 700 players in day 2. Tons of them already are far shot. Still so much for even those extra. Standings coming in today. One round of games as needed yesterday. Sitting above the vet. Aichi Kamai from and Andre from Chile. Both, both undefeated.
And I think we went over this yesterday, but there were 4,000 players at this event in the Masters Division alone. A lot of names that are not household names for the football team. There's a lot of people doing well. Players who've been around for a bit but haven't had that breakout moment. We're seeing a lot of names that we aren't expecting. You have to also realize that there's a lot more players that have 8 wins that are even on this bracket. There's just going to be so many players trying to vie for that.
Also, some of these players that are outside of Isaiah Bradbury, finalists from the last election, both in day 2 of this competition. Both back in the top cut. Off the top 4 finish, of course. And here are tons of different players here that we have in day 2. Not there. Hey, up there in day 2. One of the great young players of the year, Giovanni Sasso. So many incredible players that we'll get to see today.
Yeah, players from all over the world as well. All different regions represented here. Yeah, and again, there are over 700 players. Some of the players
Let's take a look at the meta breakdown for Phase 2. What decks have made it through Day 1 into Day 2? Dragapult DX Dusknor still leading the charge here. Puka 17.6%, 131 trainers on that archetype.
Yeah, I feel like it's always a little bit deceptive because you have the 2 Gardevoir decks. Combine those is pretty high up there. But yeah, I think for the most part, this is representative of what the field has been like. The one that stands out is that Mega Absol deck. I think it did pretty well relative to how many people brought it, and I think it's telling how many very strong players try to do it.
Hopefully that's going to be what makes or breaks a deck's success. Yes, Pokemon deck in itself can be very powerful, but it's only as
players at 7-1-1, and you can get a good snapshot of, who are the other players who are in great standing right now at 8-0-1. That's 25 match points, 8-1 at 24 match points. We saw Jackson in one of our feature matches yesterday pull out the win and is on the roll. Here we go, Chip. As you said, these are the only two completely undefeated players left. Wins after the first game of the competition, and interestingly enough, these players played this matchup in the tournament.
Yeah, the fact there, more impressive would probably be that Daichi has yet to face off against a Gardevoir player. It will be interesting to see how this matchup plays out. I think the Gardevoir and Joyers are pretty strong in the opinion of this matchup is not too bad. I can totally handle all the different things they will throw at me as the Mega Fox player. A lot of different things at play when it comes to this matchup. And Kyle, as the prize cards are laid out, that is a pretty unfortunate thing to see for Daichi.
The cards that are so powerful, you can only have one of them in your deck. And this deck in particular is very reliant on that expect card that gets revealed in the early portion of the game. Arvin for it. Find all the basic Pokemon all at once. And that's your setup. And you could stumble a bit when you don't have access to it.
Other than the Precious Trolley, a spec Part 2 Nest Ball in this list for Daichi. That is the only way I'm seeing here right now to get Pokemon into play other than naturally drawing into them. That will certainly be a hindrance. Now, I will say in this matchup, maybe it's okay to go a little slower. Maybe you can manage it. Just get the one Pokemon you want to attack with, Turbo Energize onto it, but we'll see how Daichi chooses to navigate it. It will be a pair of Monkey Dory in the active spot, one for each of our two trainers. Daichi, of course, on the left with his Mega Absol, Mega Kangaskhan toolbox deck. Juan Andre on the right with good old Gardevoir EX. Kicks off his opening turn with a Nest Ball, searching his deck for any basic Pokemon to put into play.
I'd say a very fitting image of what the standard format has looked like for quite a bit at this point. Monkey Dory against Monkey Dory. Of course, two very different decks, two very different strategies from these players. Juan with the Gardevoir EX, the deck that won the World Championships. Excellent for so long. And then Psychic Embrace, ability to power up Pokemon with your Psychic Energy cards. A bit of a simpler strategy from Daichi in some ways with the Mega Absol EX, the big basic Pokemon at play.
And this would normally be so strong for Daichi. Turn 1 Arvin, find Precious Trolley, find that Turbo Energize, power up whatever Pokemon he would like, and he will get. That Latios EX, we didn't mention that, but that being in the prize cards as well, that's a big deal for Daichi.
Yeah, you can still kind of a makeshift, effect with the Petrunt EX, but yeah, not ideal either. You'd love to have that to retreat freely. Part of this deck is using that Mega Kangaskhan EX, putting it in the active spot, so you get the ability to draw cards, draw this deck. You'd love to have that ability important to figure out how to adapt.
Finding that ball off of the Arvin alongside
Gardevoir EX does have a weakness to darkness type Pokemon, so you can use that Claw of Darkness to knock out pretty much anything in this Gardevoir deck. Take a knockout and take a card out of your opponent's hand and limit their output for the following turn. So even though it's not an ideal start with the Precious Trolley in the prize cards, Daiichi is going to put on a lot of pressure on the next turn.
Another big attack to track. You mentioned the Claw of Darkness, but Terminal Period plays a big role in this matchup, not being used by the Mega Absol, creating the opportunity for Juan Andre to use his Genome Active copy that back. Daiichi is really going to be looking for a mismatch.
Yep. Those are the funny little nuances of these matchups. This just shows kind of the thought that was put into the original build of this deck, understanding what your deck is, but also what your opponent might use to try to counter your deck, playing cards like that. Especially in a mirror match situation as well, preventing effects of attacks can be a game changer.
This is a huge here from Juan Andre, able to use Earth Defense, followed up by an Arven to find an Ultra Ball and a Technical Machine Evolution, discard those Psychic Energies, get another Ralts, and use Evolution to put two Kirlia in play. This is a really strong turn 2 board.
Yeah, it's about what you could ask for. Just have to wonder how many cards are left in the hand, how many supporter cards are in there. As a Mega Absol player, you can look at this and be like, looks like you don't have many cards you're working with there. Maybe if there's just like one supporter card in your hand, I can discard that and leave you with no options on the next turn. Looks like Daiichi is going to go for it.
Andre does hold on to supporter cards, but there are two of them, two Ion in the hand, and Daiichi seeing that actually make these cards with the Super Rod. That was his choice.
Yep. And Daiichi will take the first prize card. It is the Precious Trolley.
I think that might go to the bottom of the deck here, though, Kyle,
Yep.
with Juan immediately to the bottom of the deck. Daiichi get 5 cards. Juan finding the full fresh 6 and hit out himself. Secret Bob from Conqueror. That is
Love to see the A-Spec card this early in the game, of course. One of the interesting aspects of this Mega Absol EX deck is the Petrarun EX. You use that ability to start the you might think that is a dangerous balance. You put a damage during the on that Pokemon, but it is poisonous. You're kind of damaging your own Pokemon, making it easier for your opponent to knock it out. But it also generates damage that you can then fling back at your opponent with Monkey Dories. With Gardevoir EX Psychic Energy, putting damage on your Pokemon, you can do it to your opponent's Pokemon and reach for good stuff.
Secret Box played, discarding a couple Psychic Energy. Determination to find out one supporter, one stadium, one tool card, and one item card, adding them to one on. And it looks like there will be the find of alongside Ultra Ball, and I actually wonder if those cards are going to just be discarded to the Ultra Ball, the most costly way he could possibly have gotten a Gardevoir EX into play.
Okay, that looks like Bravery Charm, Mystery Garden, Arven, and Ultra Ball are the choices here. Does have Mew EX to restart what I assume is going to be most of the cards in hand. I think one of the offers is the way these decks are set up is taking the away for Juan. We may see some strategy where kind of hitting around Mega
That is a pretty good find from the restart. A Monkey Dory to get a Dark Energy. 220 damage, leaving it with only 60 HP remaining after the poison. That's in range of a couple Monkey Dory potentially KOing it.
To keep that.
Yeah.
Can even add a little more damage here with Adrenabrain this turn. Is really threatening the attack phase. As also
Figure out what's the most impactful card. Yeah, something like a bravery card that you're not able to recover. See both players kind of going with this strategy. Daichi took the Super Rod from Juan's hand, saying, okay, later on this might hurt you not being able to recover resources. You can't get the Super Rod back. So always an interesting decision as well of what card to take out of your opponent's hand and discard.
should be 250 damage there on the active Mega Absol EX. I believe it is correct, and we'll see what Daichi is able to find. And this is going to put a lot of pressure on Daichi. He was able to strike first, get that first attack off, but now Mega Absol EX with only 30 HP remaining. That is an easy pickings prize card for Juan on the next turn with an Adrenabrain. If Daichi was to use something like Penny to reset that Pokemon, get it out of play, all of a sudden, he has no energy. He has no attacker. What is he going to do?
Yeah, this is one of the weaknesses of the Mega Absol Mega Toolbox deck. A lot of your attacks are very costly. You do need to use Turbo Energize to power them up, and it's not unusual that we see Turbo Energize used on multiple turns. You've seen that before, just trying to get all your energy cards in play to ensure that you can continue to string together attacks. It's very awkward when you be aggressive Claw of Darkness, then your Mega Absol gets knocked out, and your memory surrounds. You want this continuous but Daichi is entering a situation that will become awkward. Hold on, is that an ice cream cone I see?
All right. Looks like Daichi stopped by the Mr. Whippy food truck out there in the hall, got himself the Jumbo Ice Cream, healing 80 damage from the active that has 3 or more energy attached to it. That is the perfect card for him to draw a one of in his list, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Jumbo Ice Cream, there we go. Healing 80 damage, and then the Adrenabrain as well. Moving 3 more damage counters, healing up this Mega Absol EX quite a bit. It will, change which Pokemon are able to knock out this Mega Absol on the next turn, but it doesn't save it entirely. There are still plenty of Pokemon that can hit for enough damage.
For Daichi here, it's becoming a prize race game. It feels like 2 prize cards awarded for this Mew EX KO, also ripping that Monkey Dory from Juan Andre's hand. And now, with just 3 prize cards remaining, the path for Daichi seems reasonable. Petrunt EX can use its attack, Irritated Outburst, take a KO on a Dark Week, Gardevoir EX pretty reasonably, and then perhaps after Juan takes some prize cards, Blood Moon Ursaluna could be the finishing blow for Juan. Now with 6 prize cards remaining, he is staring down a board that is not super established. How can he capitalize?
Yeah, I think one of the issues will be the late game INO. Daichi has been very aggressive, but does not have kind of that board set up. There's no Mega Kangaskhan EX to fall back on. There's no Pheasantipity EX to fall back on when you're doing this prize trading. So you're very vulnerable to hand disruption in this situation. If everything goes perfectly, Daichi does seem to have a clear path to victory, but it's going to be a bumpy ride.
Can he draw into those pieces? Will it come down to that precious trolley perhaps being found? His final way to get Blood Moon Ursaluna into play remaining.
And hard to believe, but Juan still has not taken a prize card and will draw 8 cards off of this Lily's Determination still. So should have plenty of options. And there we see the Frillish for the first time. This is a version with Jellicent EX. Can be an annoying card as the game progresses, especially because Petrunt EX only has 190 HP. It is possible for Jellicent EX to knock out Petrunt EX in conjunction with Monkey Dory Adrenabrain. And so again, we're looking towards that late game hand disruption plus the item lock. Could be a way for Juan to effectively buy a turn as the game progresses. We'll see what he goes for here, though. you have to assume the priority is knocking out this Mega Absol.
Yeah, has options. Could maybe with a Bravery Charm go after the Petron DX on the bench, or perhaps with just some damage movement of that Adrenabrain Monkey Dory, but I think the threat of Mega Absol seems good to clear from play in this moment. I wonder if Juan could set it up for the Absol to be KO'd by poison. That would be really strong.
Looks like 10 short of having that happen.
That would, of course, limit Daiichi's options for Pheasantipity EX on the next turn. That flip the script ability only able to be used when a Pokemon was KO'd during your opponent's last turn. If Juan could set things up so that Absol goes down during Pokemon Checkup, that ability would not be live. However, that will not be the case here, as Roaring Scream does earn the KO. Juan Andre taking 3 prize cards for his first KO.
Half your prize cards in a single knockout. That is the risk and reward of these Mega Evolution Pokemon EX. You saw the Mega Absol got the lead, but then kind of gave it right back after it goes down. But we'll see what Daiichi can pull together after this.
Yeah, Daiichi needs to find another Darkness Energy to attack with the Pecharunt EX. Its Irritated Outburst does cost 2 Darkness Energy specifically. And I think the Arven played as supporter for turn could guarantee it here. And yet showing, hey, there's that Precious Trolley. Would have been nice to see it early in the game, and it looks like he will get it into play right now. He has also taken, I believe, no, the Latias is still in his prize cards, so he will have to manually retreat this Monkey Dory. Pecharunt's ability is very powerful, the Subjugating Chain, but it does specify you cannot push a Pecharunt EX into the active spot with it.
Yeah, you can get Yveltal, which does have no retreat costs, so that'll still work. You can put that in the active spot and then retreat for free into the Pecharunt EX. Just one of the many tricks that this deck can use. But yeah, very awkward that there's no Latias EX, but the Precious Trolley was perfect here. Being able to set yourself up to find that final knockout on the next turn.
I'm sure
with the
someone will
Blood
want that.
Moon Ursaluna getting prepared. Daiichi seems to be in command right now.
It does put that Kangaskhan into play, which you do worry about a little bit, as some Gardevoir lists these days are bringing back that luxurious cape. We do see, though, Juan Andre does not have it. Not as common in the Jellicent builds of the deck, but we have seen it before.
Seems like a good deal.
Bravery Charm giving a little bit extra careful. Yes, I do like to see that move. So here
Your
for
fight
Daiichi,
ends
he's
here.
trying to set up a checkmate board state. And actually here, Puka, we're going to see the attack with the Monkey Dory Mind Bend for the KO.
Psychic energy, all right.
Not something I expected to see.
Yeah, that'll make it maybe a bit more complicated. This does open up a strange opportunity for another tail play potentially, where you knock out the Pecharunt scenario. Could counter catch something in the spot.
Counter catcher. Turn here, Kyle, perhaps.
Yeah, we'll see what the plan is. Yeah, it looks like the Night Stretcher. Look, it's got to be Scream Tail here. With the Pecharunt still in play, this doesn't work. Okay, maybe a different plan of action here, though. We could be seeing some sort of Frillish play. We'll see what Juan has planned.
And Daiichi simply a Darkness Energy and a Boss's Orders away from winning the game on the next turn. Pretty unlikely to find, though, off of 2 cards. Perhaps that's what Juan Andre is playing to here. Wants to